What's up? Ben here with Triple Chord Real Estate. So why is everybody moving from California to Idaho? Well, in this video, I'm talking with my good friend Jody Ruble, who lives in California, and I ask him all kinds of questions about what California is like. So let's listen into my conversation with him, and along the way I'm going to stop the tape and make some comments about how what he is saying compares to what life is like here in Idaho. And be sure to stick around to the end though, because if you've ever thought about moving to Idaho, I'm going to point you to a resource that's going to be super helpful for you. So stick around.
People are moving out of California for various reasons. And people are moving into California for various reasons as well. So it's not as though, the population isn't drained entirely here, but there's an attraction in other parts of the country, the Boise area, for example, that's really strong. So yeah, I see it. I understand it. It's hard not to feel the tug of a different culture. And, California is unique and the geography is incredible and unique in itself. But there's a draw to other places where, maybe things are simpler and a little culturally more understandable or accessible for some kind of people.
Yeah, so I've definitely heard that as well. People are leaving California because they're tired of the busyness of life and are hoping to find a slower paced life here in Idaho.
Give us an idea. You live in Ventura right now, right? How much does it obviously depends on the neighborhood and all that, but how much does like a 3-bed, 2-bath, 1,500 square foot home cost?
Yeah, something like that. So probably it's a little bit difficult to do it in those terms, but maybe we could just take it in terms of like the median house.
Sure. Yeah.
For say Ventura County. Okay. Ventura County is pretty diverse. It runs all the way up into the hills away from the beach. And then there's a section of Ventura County that's just geographically unique in the whole world. And so it's very, very expensive. So the medians are kind of colored by those two things. But if you're looking for the median house price, say in Ventura County, it's going to be $625,000, something like that at the median, right? So if you're going to move into a house that's a 3-2, 1,500 square feet, kind of a starter, maybe the first step up house for a person or a young family, that's what it's going to cost you. It's going to cost you into the 600,000s pretty much without question in this area.
Which is almost double of what it is here in Boise.
People are leaving California because it's too expensive. And honestly, we've felt that up here in California. People selling their house in California for a higher amount than here in Idaho, and so they come up here with their California cash and have some really good buying power, and that has put some Idaho buyers to the test, and it has been a factor in the raising prices in the Boise housing market.
Well, and that sort of highlights some of the real estate diversity of a place like California. In the Central Valley, it's still around $280,000 for a median house. So it's remarkable. It's a 2x when you come over near the beach or to Silicon Valley or to San Diego, right. Those kinds of places. So there's kind of there's a diverse range of housing opportunities in a place like California.
Can people afford to buy a house there on the salaries that they're making?
Man, that question is more and more no, just based upon the way the world is today.
Yeah.
Been out of work for a while. I think that's going to set that way back. But let me just say, those houses that we're talking about don't sit on the market in Ventura, and so
they're gone just like that.
They're gone just like that. There's a number of factors, right? People who are working from home don't need to live in a big city anymore, and lots of those folks in expensive condos in downtown LA are coming to Ventura, where there's a little more breeze in the evening, the pace is much slower, and their work days are exactly the same except more pleasant. You know what I'm saying? So there you could see a draw just in our new kind of work world, where that's kind of bringing some people this direction. So the point of all that is, and in Fresno too, in California, if it's in that range, it's on the market, it's going to go, and it's going to go quickly generally at the price that somebody asks.
That's a question we've been asking ourselves here in Boise as well. I think the answer right now is yes. People can't afford to buy homes on the salaries that they're making here in Boise, but with the house prices increasing at the rate that they have been in the past several years, it'll be interesting to see what the next 5 or 10 years has in store for us.
Like, how much does it cost to rent there? Are you in the $2,000 range per month, $1,800?
What you rule of thumb for rent in a city like Ventura is going to be $1,000 for a bedroom.
So we definitely haven't reached that level yet. A 3-bed, 2-bath, 1,500 square foot home will rent for about $1,600, $1,700 depending on where you are here in Boise.
Do you see, when you just walk around, do you see more Joe Biden signs or Donald Trump signs?
Probably. I don't see a ton of signs in my town.
Okay.
I see more Biden bumper stickers for sure. I don't have a ton of yard signs. If I see a yard sign, it's usually going to be a Democrat, candidate for some race somewhere, normally. But there's still an undercurrent of folks who want to be left alone, and they just are there's kind of a libertarian bent around places like where people, I mean, and it's not a huge undercurrent, but it is one that where people just want to kind of be left alone, and so they keep to themselves, and they voted, they may vote more conservatively. But in my town, we just canceled Father Sarah. We took down a 10-foot bronze of Junipero Serra, who founded all the missions in California. Took it down.
Wow.
Because of apparently, I don't know, we canceled him.
I've heard about the cancel culture, read about it in the news, seen what's happening in Portland, Seattle, and some of the states back east. So far, I've not seen any of that here in Boise.
I'm not going to ask you what your political persuasion is, but like, would you feel more comfortable talking about Trump or Biden out in public in California?
In California, I mean,
or does it?
If I was going to be expressing support for someone, I'd be hesitant to go out in public and express support for President Trump. Just because culturally it's not worth to me the difficulty that'll arise from it. I just really don't have many political conversations because of that. I mean, there are like some fundamental questions that'll come up, and I'll feel like I have to weigh in my workplace or with friends or wherever I happen to be. But for the most part, it's kind of a topic that I would just as soon avoid, because it's problematic, and everybody's really rabid. We're really passionate about those things here in California, and passionately left too.
Yeah, so no surprises there. Idaho is definitely a red state, so a Trump supporter or a Republican by nature would definitely feel more at home here in Idaho than in California.
What's it like in California, or in Ventura? I mean, I can't say California, but do you have to walk around with a mask?
It's not relaxed. The city has mandated in public areas mask wearing. Candidly, lots and lots, it's probably a mix of people who just say we're not going to wear it outside on the street.
Okay.
And so for example, in Ventura, downtown Ventura, they closed all of the streets. It's only walk traffic now. And
because of the virus?
Yes. And all of the restaurants have moved out onto the road. They moved out little patios for themselves in the street. Candidly, it's a really good vibe. It's 72 sunny and beautiful here. Cool. 300 days a year, it's 72 sunny and beautiful. So you can get away with it, right? We have a special kind of dispensation about weather-wise for that. But when people are out in the street, I'd say half are masked, half are not. But you cannot sit down at a restaurant. You cannot walk into a restaurant without one. Can't walk into a store. They won't serve you. They'll ask you to go. Before.
Really?
Yeah, the people are really serious, and businesses wise, they're really serious about it. And part of that is that they're being held accountable for it. The numbers of people that come into an establishment and whether or not they're abiding by, CDC guidelines of distancing and masking.
It's not like that here. The restaurants have opened back up for in-person dining in Boise. Not all stores require you to wear a mask. I went into a store the other day and nobody had a mask on. Frequently I do though. If I go to Walmart or other grocery stores, I frequently put a mask on, but Some people choose not to wear one. Sometimes I forget a mask in my car, and when that happens, I don't feel pressure from the store owners to put on a mask. So it seems like it's more relaxed here in Idaho than what Jody's describing there in California.
And what about like churches? Is there no churches in California?
No, it's a mix. So most of like the churches who are meeting we meet with a little congregation that meets in their parking lot. So they've gotten
It's outside.
They're abiding by the regulations of the local authorities to maintain distancing in an outdoor space, and that's what they're doing. There's some out in Sun Valley, for example,
Right.
packing a building full of people.
Almost MacArthur.
Just as close as they can get them in that building, as many as they can fit. So there's that, and I think that's an anomaly for sure. But there are some who are beginning to follow that lead.
What about safety? Would you ever leave your house and not lock it?
Not on purpose. I did lots and lots of times just because I'm careless about that. So it's not a thing, and I say that not just a joke, but also to say that it wasn't something that's like it was always being super careful, knowing that things were going to go bad if I didn't. But there's security issues for the rest of the family and all of that sort of thing that you want to at all times. Here, it's kind of the same here. There are more people strolling the streets at night in a town like Ventura. Where the climate allows for people to live on the streets much more easily than they can in other cities, and so we're a little careful of that. Somebody stole a pair of shoes off my porch the other day.
So Idaho is definitely a safe place to live. The property crime and the violent crime rate are both below the national average in every single city across Idaho. A lot of people don't lock their doors at night or lock their car door when they run into the store to get groceries.
It's not dense here in that way, but there is a transient population that's always wandering in our city. And that brings with it things.
Right.
I don't want to denigrate a person who happens to not have housing on a particular day, but it brings something to the city in terms of cleanliness, in terms of whether your things are safe if they're out on your porch. Those kinds of things are true.
And that's in the news. That's actually in the news a lot. Sorry to interrupt, but I hear all the time they're saying like California is so unclean, and I hear people leaving, kind of big name figures leaving California, like leaving Los Angeles because it's so unclean, like a lot of homelessness, a lot of trash kind of laying around. Have you noticed that at all? Like in Ventura? I mean, is there a lot of that?
Yeah, there is
Really?
quite a bit.
Really?
We have a spot, world famous surf spot, not too far from our house, and the surfers will tell us, and this is an anecdote, but take it for what it's worth. When it rains really hard for the first time, you just don't go in the water because of what's just washed down,
Really?
washed down the river. Yeah.
I don't see any of that here. I actually did a video on Idaho that touches on the cleanliness issue. You can check out the link up there. But Idaho in general is a very clean state. Very clean as far as renewable energy, but also when you walk around the cities and in the nature, you hardly see any trash. We do have some homeless people in Boise, but nothing like what I read about what's happening down in Los Angeles or some of these other bigger cities in California. So overall, cleanliness is not an issue here in Boise or in Idaho in general.
We'll finish up because we're getting long, but what's like one thing you love about California and one thing that you hate about California?
Man, you know what? One thing I can say lots of things that I love about California. I really dig this place. So
Yeah.
I would say that the geographic diversity of a place like California is unbelievable. I can get on my bicycle in the morning at the local surf spot, and I can be, an hour and a half later at 3,000 feet looking down on, 100 miles of coastline, it feels like.
Wow. Beautiful.
There's something really cool about that as a region, and you feel the uniqueness of that, just of what all is here and the beauty of it. There's something really special about that. I can get on a boat and be out on an island in just an hour or so. An island where nobody lives kind of thing. So there's all that uniqueness of the geography, and just there's a lot of life here for us too. So that's all colored by the fact that I have all the people that I've loved in the world pretty much here,
Right?
except for your family who are in Boise.
You have to say that.
No, it's true. So, and then something that I dislike about it, I don't want it to be a political discussion, but the truth is, it's a really there's a really left-leaning culture that's kind of passionate in ways that make it untenable for conversation. And I'm a guy who loves to have liberal conversations. I want to talk with everybody about everything.
Totally.
But it's really hard to do that here. So I have a yearning to do that, and I have a distaste for the experiences when I do that at the same time. So I wish California was, as diverse culturally, politically as it is geographically.
So there you have it. Why is everybody moving from California to Idaho? But I want to know from you, which state do you like better? California or Idaho? Let me know down in the comments below. Just type California or Idaho and we'll see which state gets the most votes. If you haven't already done so, hit the subscribe button. But also, if you are interested in moving to Idaho, be sure to download my buyer's guide. This is the complete guide to buying a home in Boise. Tons of useful info on the Boise housing market, neighborhoods, and lots of other stuff. Click on the link down below. But in the meantime, if you're looking for another video, why don't you check out that one right there.